I'm alive. I am alive. Why have I not been streaming? Should I go full cam? So, you may notice this is a different location. I'll get into that in a bit. There's a lot to get into. It is definitely not like the other times when Jester disappears and I'm just like, either I got busy, I played WoW, or I wanted to kill myself for a little bit. It's not that. There's a lot of things that actually changed. It's not Jester MMO. It's not anything. Okay, so I should say this. It's nothing that impacts anyone other than myself, really. I mean, it will in turn, because my life's going really well right now, it will in turn, you guys will hopefully see some level of that positive impact, and that maybe my life should be more stable now, which is really good, and I've worked hard to kind of do what I can. There's a lot to go, but for the most part, I'm kind of on that, I put my life in order, and now I just kind of need to stick to it, and I haven't stuck to it for a while. But yeah, I miss streaming a lot. This is obviously my favorite thing to do. It's hard to just, like, and I've talked about this before, but it's been 9 months, who gives a shit? I can repeat whatever I fucking want. There are very few people who are lucky as I am to, like, know, like, oh, this is my favorite thing to do. Well, I think a lot of people, maybe like 90% of people, a lot, are like, I don't know why I was put on Earth. I don't know what I should be doing. And for me, kind of having streaming and YouTube, even though I've not been it for 9 months, because when you have, like, this number one thing to care about, it helps put everything else in line. Because you can then prioritize everything in such a way that you can't just focus on one thing, but you can do what you can to work on going back to it. And that was a pretty big thing that helped me originally. Yeah, I know, it's wild. Things are going well for the first time. Okay. So for about a year, up until recently, I'll get into it, but I was working as a high school janitor, which I don't think it takes a whole lot of, real thinking to figure out that's not a very good job, cleaning up after children's shit and vomit and generally their stupid fucking persons. It's not great. It's a bit of a doomer job, but I kind of liked it. It wasn't very difficult. The pay was, like, not great, but there were benefits. People generally either ignored you, or just the few that didn't generally treated you fine. It really wasn't a bad job. If you guys, and also being a custodian is like one of the most popular jobs. They're little cockroach people like myself who hide in the crevices of society. And if you're looking for a job, don't be afraid to check. And a lot of times, though, they aren't on, like, Indeed. So check, like, your city website. Check your school district website. It's actually a pretty good job. But regardless, I am not someone who can find peace in my own life very easily. And I need to have... It's not that I can't find peace. I can't find peace in stagnation. I instead find peace and fulfillment in trying to actively make myself a better human. And it's not been great. It's kind of been shitty at times, and it's gone down and up, and generally it's about as high right now. Easily it's higher right now than it's ever been. And I've been to stakes. Obviously there's people who are, I'm 24 years old. There's other people at 24 years old who have done way better. There's people who graduated with a sick ass degree 2 years ago, like a fucking nuclear engineer, like computer engineer, and they're killing it. I just got done with being a high school janitor, so I've not really made it out the hood. I don't mean to make it sound like I'm sort of an expert on life, and I'm pretty happy. And I was doing that job, and so about 9 months ago, the last time I streamed, I was doing okay, and I kind of wanted to, this was around the little space time, I was like, I want to make things better. I am not happy with the place I got where my life, I have this thing I really enjoy doing. Yeah, I made it out to hood, but we'll get there. The little space thing, that's just funny. That thing I think became a little more notorious than it should have been, just because it got the traction from all my stuff. Because it was the most recent vid forever. It still is. But that was just a funny little haha. The comments are super. Yeah, I miss you guys too. I miss you guys. So yeah, I was a high school janitor, and then about 9 months ago, little space, I was like 290 pounds. I might have been 300. I actually am not 100% sure. I was at least like 290, 295. Big guy. I'm 5'3" XD. I wasn't feeling well mentally, physically, and my life revolving around wanting to constantly improve wasn't going well, considering I was pretty much in a dead-end doomer job, and at the same time, The thing I cared about the most with the YouTube and streaming stuff seemed to go nowhere either, which is okay, but still, when I need that kind of thing, it wasn't working out for me. So after that, I stopped streaming, and which wasn't quite originally because all of that. It was mostly because actually my internet was dog shit. I was on Wi-Fi. It was inconsistent. It was dropping all the time. I ended up playing Elden Ring and Red Dead Redemption 2, which are insanely good games. We can talk about that later. Had an amazing time. I was one of, like, I'm sure the first people to beat Elden Ring. I'm due for another chicken nugget stream. We can worry about that later too. What do I dip my fries in? I don't eat fries very often, but probably barbecue sauce. It's probably my most common. Sometimes I just like toasting them up. Like, if you can like put anything with bread, I like olive oil, like Greek seasoning, or like some Italian seasoning, salt, stuff like that, and kind of fry them, and I'm pretty happy. But barbecue sauce is probably the one I do. So regardless, okay, I need to get back. I need to stay on track. I've just now started, and I've already been going for like 9 minutes. So I started working out, and I actually stuck to it, which was awesome. And I pretty aggressive. So I went from like 280, 270, 260, 250, 240, 230, and the recent stuff, I'm like about 240 right now. I went up a little bit, but kind of when I hit 230, I had COVID, and I lost a whole bunch of water weight. So I'm about 240 right now. It might be a 250. I'm not weighing I'm like upper 240. So it's not fantastic. I went up like a couple weight, but still in general, since that little space video, I am down 50 pounds, which I'm really happy about. I feel way better. One of the big things of science, I'm not really into like science things like I used to when I was younger, with the exception of kind of tech now. But even then, one of the big ignorant parts of in my life is nutrition. And I didn't care about being fat. I still don't really care much about being fat, but I would never had that instilled in me to not be a fat piece of shit. So I had to teach myself all of that. And I did. And I have a way better thing. I understand, like, when I eat like an entire pizza, I should feel ashamed, and it's okay to feel ashamed. It didn't exist before. I mean, I would feel bad about binge eating, especially because I used to vomit a lot. I was for sure bulimic, but that's a conversation for another day. Not recently, but years ago. But I started eating better, and like here, it's already gone. I need to wash it out. But like, this is protein shakes I drink every morning. I take multivitamins, which I take other vitamins, and there's creatine I put in there too. And I just try to eat better. I try to eat a whole lot of vegetables now. I used to eat very little vegetables. A lot of my carbs come from white rice. Because I don't have a crazy amount of money. The meat I eat isn't super great. At best, it's chicken, but a lot of times, honestly, it's pork, but that's fine. I like pork a lot. Yeah, so I'm trying to do... Oh, yeah, I guess I need to talk about it, the hair. So when I was working out around this time, my hair was like a problem, and a bad one. And when you're running and being active and you care about how you look... which a lot of that, and I said this, I'm like, that long hair wasn't a statement. It wasn't like, that's how I should look. It was, I don't fucking care, and I don't have, the desire to like upkeep my physical appearance. And so I didn't just let it grow. Who cares? And then I started to, and I started like, when I jog a lot, I did a lot of calisthenics. I'm not a weightlifter. I'm not a lifting weights kind of guy. I guess I know I have the body of someone who should be lifting weights, but just my personal enjoyment, I way prefer just like go jogging, do push-ups, do sit-ups, stuff like that. It's simple, and it makes me, I'm happier. And I hate like gym environments. Nothing against like dude bros. I get other people like it, but it's just not for me. I am curious about going to stuff like, maybe some MMA or some combat sports type of thing, but another time. I cannot do a pull-up. I can kind of do one. I can like maybe get to like part of my face, but it's still super difficult. I'll probably try to implement pull-ups at some point as an extra sort of as like an opposite force sort of stressor relative to push-ups, but not at the moment. We need to see your hairy chest. Yeah, it's pretty fucking hairy. So, but I was cared about more about my physical appearance, and I wanted to have my, my body is a tool, and I should treat it well so that way it can serve me best in my life. And long hair was not good for that. And short hair was. I like the beard. I just like the way it looks. Makes me feel more confident. And that's just, so but it's kind of maintained now. It's still scruffy, but like I have had it trimmed. The neckline is like somewhat cleaner now. They would trim this. So it's still definitely scruffy. I'm not like some sort of well-maintained guy, but I care more. My nipples are not hard. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna take my shirt off right now. In general, I don't know. I mean, we'll see, but I don't know if it's gonna be like I'll take off my shirt and twerk and stuff like that. I think it's funny, but I do not think it is good for the people that watch me or for my own mental well-being to do things that are like aggressively degrading. I think it's good to have some level of self-respect. And I'll still always be a fucking retard, but like 9 months ago I wouldn't care. I'd easily go up and do it. But now when I think about twerking in front of a camera, I'm almost disgusted at myself, which I think is what you should think. So, yeah, I mean, the monkey skin suit's still in there, but, like, I'm trying to take more pride in myself and trying to care more, and part of that is not... I'm still gonna, obviously, my humor's still gonna be very self-degrading, but... Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to put it, too, because it's, like, sometimes my family sees this. Sometimes my jobs know about this. And I understand I'm gonna have more edgy humor, I'm gonna have, like, especially we're gonna get into political shit where I'm not gonna... toe the line of what's socially appropriate. But I think there's some stuff where they're like, oh, he's kind of just a bit of a schizoaffective retard. And then there's some of it where it's like, ugh. And the twerking stuff was a part of the, ugh. Like when a stranger or my family would see that, they'd be like, oh, fuck, what? I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, I'm going to try to not do much. Like I'm still, I've got a lot of weight to lose still. Okay. So we're done with the weight loss stuff, eating better. I started meal prepping a lot. And so about a little after that, so about 6 months ago now, a bit after when I streamed last, in my high school janitor job, I'm not even done. You guys, I'm not even gotten to the big stuff yet. This was just like what I got busy with originally. So now we're getting towards the bigger stuff. And yeah, okay, sorry. So with my high school janitor job, I started bringing my laptop to work in downtime. And originally I did that to play RuneScape, which is awesome. I love RuneScape. But I started getting back to programming stuff. So originally I was just like, I'm trying to pick up Python. I'll learn some stuff. I'll look into maybe some game dev stuff. I don't know as much. Let's look around. Let's try random Python books. Let's try edX programming things. Let's see around. And I just tried a whole bunch of these different things. And I knew AI was something that interests me probably the most. And it was. And I found a resource called Fastbooks. Fastbooks is something that's made by FastAI, which is like a high-level library that you can use to write AI, working with, Jupyter Notebooks, which is kind of this interface for Python code, where it's a little more reliant on commenting, because AI typically is less lines of code, but extremely impactful. So you need, like, really good documentations. I'm going to show you guys, actually, really quick. So this is it, and so this is a Python IPYNB. This is a file type for Jupyter Notebook. It used to be called something different. That's why the extension's weird. And so you go through this, you read about it, you read about AI. I'm going to actually open up one that contains code blocks. And so it'll teach you about like a lot of, it's pretty math heavy. So you like run this code block and it does a thing. You run this and it explains what they do. And it's a really, really awesome way that I ended up learning. And I got pretty much entirely through this book. And I was having a really good time. And then, Hornet was someone who DM'd me. And he was like, hey, I know you're doing that and that's going well, but if you're interested, I can look into what IT certifications, and I'm sure you can get a job pretty easily just with some IT certifications. Like, this is a list of the ones that are most important. And so like, okay, sure, I'll look into it. And so I ended up starting looking at jobs near me in Des Moines, Iowa, in some other areas where I was like, okay, cool. So I can get a couple of IT certifications and I can look for a job. And I was like, okay, this seems super easy, and they seems like pretty good jobs. So I ended up like, okay, so I'm swapped off of Fastbooks, and then I instead started working on my A+ IT certification. Yeah, no, this stream is a cover-up because I killed the fucking British Queen. Fuck you, eat shit. I'm trying to distract away from that. I'm trying to make the world freak out that Jester's back from streaming and make that a cover-up from the Queen being dead. Okay, yeah, sorry, I need to get back on track now. So I got my A+ IT certification, and then I kind of got a little before it. Actually, before I got it, and I was studying for it, and actually pretty committed to it, and I started hunkering down. I spent like weeks studying for it almost all day, which isn't a lot to get a whole certification, but I knew a lot of the knowledge that required. And that's about the time when Hornet had the idea. I think this was him that had the idea, because he needed a new place to live, and he has connections out into the, upper state New York area. Hey, I can get a place, and like, if you're able to get a job or whatever out in this area, like, you can live with me. So this is weird, because that's some guy. I think I originally met him because in a stream one time, I was talking about Linux, and he started talking. I think that's like the first thing. So this is some guy, Hornet. He's in the chat right now. This is someone I met through the stream. And I'm like, okay. And so then I got my certification pretty shortly after. And then I started applying to jobs out in this area. And I ended up landing one here. And so I then moved halfway across the country from the Kansas City area in Missouri. And now I'm in New York, upper state New York, working. I'm just doing a help desk job at first, but it's a start. But I have an IT job now out for a company in upper state New York. So yeah, I'm living with Hornet. He's been typing from across the hallway. Yeah, we're in a beautiful town. I obviously don't want to tell you like my address or even really what town I'm in, but it's fucking crazy. I feel like I came from, just open the door, you're cool. I feel like I came from a third world country. You just come in, you're fine. But yeah. But yeah, no, this is Hornet. Yeah, das Spielen. Yeah, so that's Hornet.
Funny Mike House.
Yeah,
Funny Mike
this
House.
is the Funny Mike House.
Funny Mike House.
Funny Mike House.
Funny Mike House. Funny Mike House. That was whatever's around the corner. Woo.
Yeah, so he's been typing around this corner in this chat. Yep.
Right.
We are now under the same roof or ceiling, So I'm now, yeah, which was good. That made it a lot easier. I made it way easier because I need to turn on my fan a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't change how my mic sounds. I'm starting to get a little sweaty. Here I start seeing some fucking titty stains. Yeah, he's the main signer on the lease and all that, which was super helpful because that made me able to skip an entire step. Because, if I had to go somewhere, which would have probably been Des Moines, Iowa, if I had to guess, that would have been at least my first go for applying to somewhere. Kind of getting somewhere to live is not only super expensive, which this would have delayed it by another month or two, just getting enough money for a security deposit and rent, because obviously living with someone is way fucking cheaper, and I wouldn't be able to do that initially if I moved somewhere. So it was super helpful. It made my life way easier because Hornet was out here and it gave me like somewhere to be. And it's just nice living with someone like Hornet. I think have gotten along pretty well so far. He's been a pretty easy, clean person to live with, so it's gone well. If you're in upstate New York, visit Windham. Yeah, I've got to get used to this area. I've only been in New York for like 6 days. How long has it been, Hornet? A week, maybe, at most? I just fucking got here. I'm just like fully moved in. What promotion options are there from help desk? There was a lot of ways I can move around. I'm happy for you. I think living with a roommate compared to living in the attic of a church is definitely an upgrade. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff about that church that I feel like is worth mentioning. That was a piece of shit. Like, it was not good. I don't know if you could see in some of the streams, but like there's holes in the wall. There was like a part in the shower I couldn't really step in because it got rusted through because the crackhead that lived there before like used to store metal in the shower. It used to flood like every week. I would lose a night of sleep like once a week when it would rain a lot because it would flood and I'd have to sit there with a shop vac so that shit doesn't get ruined. Like it was super cheap rent. That's why I lived there. I didn't have a whole lot of money, and they were also pretty, they like delayed some stuff, so I had to pay it back later whenever I ended up getting laid off. Like, it was a good place to be. It was a real ghetto piece of shit, but this is an upgrade, is what I'm trying to say. This is pretty great. There's thick walls. Show what's on the shelf. Nah, I can lean around, but that's just where I store all of my trinkets and treasures. That's just stuff. A bald spot? Kinda. Yeah, I'm balding. You might have noticed a bald spot. Actually, hold on, let me screenshot it so I can see it myself. I mean, my thing throwing it off. Oh yeah, there's a bald spot going. Here, I'll show you guys. So I will at one point probably just need to go bald. My hair's thinning. I don't know if it's an anxiety thing, like what's going on. But yeah, look at that. There's a bit of bald going on. Give me like 5 years, I'll probably just go bald. I don't fucking care. But my hair's been thinning. It used to be super, super thick. Now it's thin. It is what it is. Shave it off, become a skinhead, never buy shampoo or a haircut again. Yeah. I mean, once it gets bad enough, keeps eat shit. We need another sausage vid. Yeah, sausages. I don't have the shit to make sausages. All that got left because the stuff I made the sausages with were actually like stuff for my dead grandmother, and I didn't want to bring those because they meant a lot to my family. I wanted to keep them in my hometown. Great grandmother watching from above as her piece of shit great grandchild makes bean sausage. Yeah, I don't think that was exactly honoring her legacy by doing that. You still rocking the Shiki futon? Yeah, I've still got the Japanese weed bed. So if you guys notice, my webcam now is like a square. I think this looks a little nicer, especially because it's still kind of ghetto, but, you know, I'm trying to make the stream look a tiny bit nicer. It's got the nicer lighting. It's got, you know, because this, the full thing, it's fine when I'm full cam, but, like, if I, you know, but this, I think, just looks worse. I don't think it's a big difference, actually, but, you know, I just think this looks nicer. Yeah, so usually because I've been broke, it isn't because my jobs are awful. Like the janitor thing, even though it doesn't pay a lot, I'm, for the most part, pretty responsible with my money when I have it. The problem is I will go through like a month or two or maybe more without a job sometimes because my jobs have been wild. You guys can chat in here. You can chat in my YouTube thing. If you're talking about adding GJHS2, eat shit. Not happening. I look kind of greasy right now. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a pat. Because also, it takes up, like, trying to talk 24/7, like, move around, use your arms. It's more physically demanding than you think, especially if you're an obese fucking... you're an obese piece of shit. And it doesn't look, like, massive. The lighting here is also better, but I feel good. I definitely feel a lot better. I'm not that much lighter. I'm only like 50 pounds down, which for how much my weight is isn't a crazy amount. I've still got like another probably 50 pounds to lose at least. Maybe up to like 70. About 50 to 70. I don't know what my natural weight is. Even though I understand like 160 is about normal for my height and like my build. Like getting below 180 would be insane for me, I presume. But yeah, I'm still pretty happy with 50 pounds.